What's up, guys? Ultimate107 here. I just wanted to quickly go over a top 5 that I've been meaning to do for like the last year, but I've been compiling the list in my mind, and it took me forever to narrow them down, but I couldn't really do it in like a discernible amount of time. I needed this took me a few months to be able to, because I sat down like for 20 or 30 minutes each week and just went through my list in my head and on paper and determined the best top 5 game soundtracks of this generation of games on the PS3 and the Xbox 360. Well, not the Xbox 360, but the PS3. And yeah, so I'm here to let you guys know what the top 5 video game soundtracks of this generation are. So, let's get started. Number 5 on my list is BioShock. Now the sound quality of these tracks might not be the best in the world, but the sound editing of this game is just amazing. It's an old-timey music, but it gives the game just such an overtone of that scary overtone. It just makes it so much scarier to have that old-timey music, especially in the way that they did it. It's amazing. That's one of my game of the generation contenders, at least in my mind. But yeah, that's number 5. Perfectly complemented soundtrack to the game, which is amazing, which everyone should play at least once in their lives. Alright, number 4 on my list is Far Cry 3. Now, a lot of people might not agree with me on this, but I think Far Cry 3 has one of the best soundtracks of any game this generation. Purely based on the fact that it perfectly complements the tone of the game, which lots of people think that it's not necessary to copy the tone of the game with your music. And lots of people lose that with product placement or like band placement, like Black Ops. It's got like AC/DC. Oh no. And then like, it's so forgettable. The music on that game is so forgettable, it makes my brain hurt. But yeah, Far Cry 3 does a great job of setting the tone for the overall game. It's got an amazing, crazy vibe to it that just lots of games just don't have. And I thought that it was at least this part of the list. Number 4. It does what it sets out to accomplish. It sets the tone, and when you're around exploring, I loved that track that is set when you're around just exploring the world. It's just a great compliment to a great game that lots of people should play, if not everyone. Alright, number 3 is Assassin's Creed, the original Assassin's Creed, 2 Revelations. Now, this is a pretty broad range of games, but Assassin's Creed, the original, to 2 Revelations, like all those games in between. I absolutely loved the first game's soundtrack, but I mean, most of the tracks carry over throughout each game, and I just thought they did a great job of capturing the times as well as the overarching theme of the game, which is like, you're an assassin sent by this order and you're killing people. I mean, it sets the tone of the game beautifully. Now, I'm a sucker for good overtonal music, like upbeat, mystical type stuff, and this game just does it. It's amazing. So if you haven't checked out the original Assassin's Creed, which if you're watching this video is probably highly unlikely, you should probably do that. But yeah, any of Ezio's stuff is really amazing, so I would check out any one of those games, to be honest. But Revelations is the best in my opinion. And if you buy it new, you get a free copy of the original Assassin's Creed on PS3, that is. So pick it up. Alright, number two. Number two on my list is Portal 2. Now, Portal 2, that game, now I've played the original Portal. I actually beat that, like, not that long ago, maybe like 2 weeks ago. The original game is so simplistic that when you look at Portal 2 in comparison, it is ridiculous how much that game has changed. And the music for these games is nothing short of phenomenal. It catches all the technology vibe of the whole place, and it just wraps it all up and heightens the tension, and the original songs are just awesome. I love those original songs that they have at the end of the game. Well, no spoilers for Portal 2, but there's an original song at the end sung by GLaDOS, and it's freaking awesome. It's like singing about how goodbye, we'll miss you, but not really, and GLaDOS in her condescending robot voice. But yeah, so Portal 2, amazing soundtrack. Sets all these soundtracks set the tone of their game perfectly, at least in my opinion. Now Assassin's Creed might be spotty sometimes, but as a whole, it does amazing at it. So Portal 2, get it, enjoy it. It's an amazing game. That's another contender for my generation game. But there's a year left in this generation, so let's not count our chickens before they hatch, shall we? Alright, and number one is Skyrim. Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. This game, this soundtrack at least, I have listened to this soundtrack at least 30 times by itself. And it is the most amazing piece of orchestral music I think I've ever heard. Now people are gonna get after me for that one if I tell them about it like that. But nothing in music has affected me the way that this soundtrack has. Like, this is the first soundtrack that I've legitimately owned that you can sit down and listen to without a game, and it'll still be one of the best soundtracks you'll ever hear, or the best music you'll ever hear. Now, I did a video a while back, and it didn't get much press, but I have a signed copy of that soundtrack from Jeremy Soule, and I am so glad that I have that signed copy, because it's the greatest soundtrack I have ever heard on a game, like ever. It's insane. I love that soundtrack. If you have not heard that soundtrack and you like expansive, mystical type orchestral music, you will love that soundtrack. It's just awesome. Alright, hold on. Alright, I'm back. Now, I haven't really found a suitable place to put this. I think I might frame it, but I'm not sure yet. Here it is. The original Skyrim soundtrack. It's a pretty big book, and then inside here, see that those squirrely lines? Those are a signed copy of Jeremy Soule's Skyrim soundtrack. This thing is by far the most amazing soundtrack I have ever heard. You get this, you enjoy it, you love it. For the rest of time, it will never lose its appeal, at least to me. This soundtrack, it's amazing. Now, I've said get all of the games on this list, but if you just had to get one, or if you just had to buy one of the soundtracks on this list, get Skyrim. Hands down, Skyrim. Don't even think about getting anything else before you get Skyrim. Now, I can't even explain how amazing this soundtrack sets the tone for its game. This soundtrack, you've got to hear it to be able to enjoy it. Everything about it is amazing. You have to listen to it to enjoy what I'm saying. It's just, it's so powerful and amazing. I don't think I've ever had a game soundtrack affect me in the way that Skyrim has. I can literally listen to it, like when I'm doing homework and stuff, that's the only thing I listen to. It helps me focus, because when it's orchestral music, so when you're listening to it, you can just think about other things. It clears your mind. That's the first game soundtrack I can legitimately say I've listened to multiple times outside of the game. Now, I've listened to these other soundtracks, don't get me wrong, but the one I always go back to is Skyrim. So, if you're a fan of games and music in any way, get Skyrim soundtrack. Get the Skyrim soundtrack. You will not be sorry. I guarantee it. Get it. So, number 1, Skyrim. Get it, enjoy it, over all of these other games. This is by far the best soundtrack I have ever heard on a video game. So, sorry, I was gushing a little bit there, but yeah. So, comments, questions, feel free to ask. I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. Like and subscribe so I can keep making these amazing videos. And thanks for your guys' support. Leave your top 5 in the comments below so I can find more music to enjoy. And I'll talk to you guys later.